Hey everyone, finish watching the next episode of Operation Overdrive at all costs. The Rangers are out for an exercise run, and Ronnie beats them all. Later, they play a board game, and Ronnie spoils the game. Rose asks if winning really means that much to her, and Ronnie responds that winning is just what winners do. Mr. Hartford has new weapons for the team to test out. Even just in weapons practice, Ronnie feels a need to prove herself the best. Moltor takes out his lava lizards and pits them against each other. The one who wins will be powered up into a new monster, Volcan. The Rangers attempt to fight them, but Volcan blasts the team away. They regroup at the mansion. Mr. Hartford tells them he's gotten a dragon scale to help stabilize the new drill weapon. Later, Ronnie asks Mac if he wants to play foosball, but he responds that she's not fun to play with. Ronnie asks Spencer his opinion on if she's fun to play with, and he tells her that she's like a moldy bag of rocks. Man, Spencer being super harsh for some reason. Moltor steals the scale. At the mansion, Ronnie talks over her competitiveness with Spencer. He explains that playing is supposed to be the fun part, winning is just what happens at the end to one of the participants. And while I like this part, it helped me realize what my problem with this episode is. Ronnie's story is perfectly acceptable, but it's also inconsequential to the more interesting plot. Moltor and his new monster, a stolen dragon scale, a new weapon. There's more than enough here to tell a compelling Power Rangers story. Ronnie's whole thing just interrupts the flow and takes away focus in favor of an overdone moral lesson. Ronnie's character is flanderized here quite a bit for this plot to work, and it leads to nothing here being particularly memorable. Back to the episode, the Rangers detect Moltor and go to get the scale back. The Rangers find Volcan, but the heat around him is too intense to get too close. Mac calls the Zords, and then calls a new Zord the Cement Driver. They combine with it and use its cement to encase Volcan. Volcan breaks out, and Moltor is confused. He doesn't have the scale with him. Ronnie explains that she used a suction cup grappling gun to snatch it back earlier. Okay. So, what? Man, this episode's a mess. Ronnie calls Mr. Hartford, and he sends a shield to combine with the scale. She gives it to Mac, who activates the Defender Vest, which allows him to control the drill blaster. Using their new power, they destroy Volcan, and Moltor retreats. At the mansion, Mac beats Ronnie in foosball, and she learns that losing isn't all that bad. This episode is definitely the weakest so far. Ronnie's moral lesson is to be less competitive, which is fine, but this is the first episode where we really get to learn anything about her. It turns out she's a bit annoying, and by the end, she's changed. So did we ever really get to know her? The other plots going on are really sloppily handled. The drill blaster is tough to control, but that's not the focus of its first scene. The weight of the problem isn't given time to sink in. It's just a thing that's going on that's passed right on by. It's made worse by Ronnie's competitiveness thing being shoved in, and it completely distracts from what the focus should be on, the drill blaster being too strong. Moltor pits the lava lizards against each other to determine who's the strongest. That's a potentially good story, nearly entirely passed right over. In fact, we barely see anything. We see a huge army of lava lizards behind Moltor. We see like a few seconds of them fighting, and then almost immediately there's one left. It's almost comical. Like, there's this entire army of lava lizards completely killed by this one lone lava lizard. It would have been cool to see a montage of the lava lizards in battle or in training of some kind of like the old Mighty Morphin episode, Mighty Morphin Mutants. Goldar trains a group of putties to take on the Dark Ranger powers. So we get to see the putties doing stuff, and there's some personality in there from the putties, and that really helps to build them up as actual characters like they'll be in the show. It's not something super deep or anything, they're still mindless minions pretty much, but it's something. Among fans, this episode's most memorable element is the inclusion of one of Fireheart's scales. It's a clever way to utilize an existing prop from the Sentai footage. Mr. Hartford mentions a record store owner being the one who gave him the scale. Cute, I guess? I think the Guardian, Sentinel Knight, should have been the one who had it, and link him with Mystic Force in some way. So much of Operation Overdrive is grounded in technology, and he's the one thing that sticks out as like a fantastic element, so I think that would have made more sense, have the Sentinel Knight be somehow linked to the Mystic Force Rangers, and he's the one who brings the scale. Rose talks about Gaelic dragon legends, but when I looked it up, I couldn't find anything specifically in Gaelic legends about dragons. Usually all I got was Celtic legends about dragons, which, like, it's close and related, but not specifically Gaelic. We get a new Zord. Yippee. New Zords used to be a big deal, even if they only got minimal use. Now they just get dropped in whenever. Some kind of lead up to the cement driver's introduction would have helped. Again, this is where Ronnie's stupid plot line about being competitive really gets in the way of everything. The folks said that there's so much stuff going on in this episode, there was zero reason to dump in this stupid moral lesson. Was this just something Disney really wanted in the show, or was this something the writers genuinely thought made it better? Overall, not very good. If this is how the show continues, its reputation of being one of the worst seasons starts to make a whole lot more sense. One of the things that's interesting with Overdrive is how just unmemorable most of it is. Episodes like this especially, things just zip right on by, nothing is given time or focus, nothing sinks in. It's all just, quick, we gotta get to the next thing, and then they'll distract from whatever the other thing is because they're trying to work in elements from the other plot line going on, then there's this other plot line going on, then there's this other plot line going on, and they're just trying to shove it all in there at once, and it just makes the whole thing just completely forgettable. So, in the past, I've looked at Overdrive and been like, I don't think it's the worst season ever, because I was completely forgetting episodes like this. It's not like in Dino Thunder, where there's episodes like I don't like Dino Thunder because I just think it's really basic and kind of boring. But the episodes are, for the most part, generally cohesive. There's little issues here and there, but I won't get into that here. And then you come along to an episode like White Thunder Part 2. In the middle of the White Ranger's introduction, we have this weird mishmash of just meandering nonsense. And it really stands out because so much up till that point, like, it usually had some kind of a focus. Even if it was a focus I didn't care for, you could tell what they were focusing on. With this, it was just like, whatever. That's it for this one. Hope you enjoyed it. See ya.